with our distinguished panel of experts. Let me introduce you the first panel of first expert. We have unstoppable force, Dr. Divya Rajput. Please have a round of applause for her. Madam Rajput, please. A PhD president of the Association of Women in Business and the dynamic CEO of JSS Science and Technology Entrepreneurs Park, Noida. Dr. Divya is not just a leader, but a trailblazer in shaping communities and economies. Her commitment to the mentoring and championing women-led startup is nothing short of inspiring. Let us give a warm welcome to Divya Rajput. Next on our panel is the literary maestro, Dr. Om Prakash Dwivedi. Professor Dwivedi. As the Associate Professor of English Literature and Dean of School Liberal Arts at Bennett University, Dr. Dwivedi's expertise in post-colonial theory, Indian writing in English, and the cultural study is unparalleled. His recent hits in literature, coupled up with his role as Vice Chair of the International Research Network, challenging precarity, making him a true force in academia. Join me in welcoming Dr. Om Prakash Dwivedi. Moving on, we are honored to have the tech legend Dr. Debashish Sengupta among us. With over 40 years of experience spanning corporate, academia, and the government of India, Dr. Sengupta brings a wealth of knowledge, currently serving as Professor, Area Director, and Dean of Technology Initiative at NIT University. His global footprint in world-class company is nothing short of awe-inspiring. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Debashish Sengupta. And last, but certainly not least, our internal education rock star, Professor Gurendra Bharadwaj. Professor Gurendra Bharadwaj, with over 25 years of experience and actively engaged with MSMEs, farmers, and community stakeholders, Professor Bharadwaj is not just a teacher, but a superhero shaping rural development and labor economics. As an internal panelist at NIT University, his influence and impact are deeply felt. Let's give him a warm round of applause for Professor Gurendra Bharadwaj. Together, this panel represents a powerhouse of expertise spanning literature, technology, entrepreneurship, and academia. I'm sure we are in for an engaging and enlightening discussion on the future of work. Without further ado, let's dive into the conversation with our distinguished professor. So let me introduce you the flow. We'll start with the panelist take on the future of work in their own domain, and then we may address a common thread, finding out. So I will first go to Ms. Divya Rajput. Given your expertise in mentoring and supporting startups, particularly with a focus on women-led initiative, how do you foresee the future of work evolving to empower and integrate a more diverse and inclusive range of entrepreneurs into the mainstream business landscape? And I would also like to give you one more question. So when we generally talk about future of work, whenever we talk about work, we consider paid work. The unpaid work is not considered as work. Consider, a housewife. People will say she is not working. So I'm sure that when we talk about artificial intelligence, AR, VR, those roles and those work are also going to change. They're going to influence those things.
Right.
So how does that, the distribution of those unpaid work be, shaped in the society by the technology? or the future power, whatever would it be?
Great. Thank you so much. First, I think my thanks to NIT University for inviting me over, and of course to the organizing committee. I think it's a very, very interesting topic, what you've picked up. Just to add, maybe I'm going to merge both the questions and take it one by one step at a time. So I would say going or taking a step back, let's first figure out why do we work. So that's going to be for all of you as well. You can join me in, making it a little more interactive. Why do you think we go to work? Anybody? For money, right? So what happens is we mostly associate work with money. That's the first step, right? Any other reasons why we go for work? Self-dependence, good. Any other reasons? Pardon? Financial goals, so that's money. Any other thoughts? Self-identity, so again, self-dependence, part of it. Anything else? To be independent, yes. That's again kind of same. और आने दो, मतलब ठीक है, post lunch session है, doesn't mean बात नहीं करेंगे. To fulfill our dreams. Yeah, I was actually hoping कोई तो बोलेगा कि मुझे बड़ा famous इंसान भी बनना है ना? So now tell me, when the mother is at home and she's not making money, she's kind of dependent on the family ecosystem, and there is no fame in doing what she's doing because she's actually pestering you guys. आज छोले भटूरे खा लो और आज डोसा बना रही हूँ. How do you think that could be something which can be considered as work? So question open to everyone. Can we consider unpaid work like this, which is not attached with money, which doesn't lead to her self-dependence or independence, and which is, not even sexy? Can we consider it as part of work? Okay, now tell me why. Whoever said yes, what was in your thought? And there's nothing wrong or right about it. So whatever we're doing, we're just having an open discussion. Great. None of you earlier said that survival is the thing for which I go for work. Nobody said. So I'm not, again, nothing right or wrong about it. None of us actually put survival as the first thing for going to work. Did we? Because we associate, and it's a fact. That's how things are. That's how we look at the world. We associate work with money. So even men do the same work. But men work for money. Even the best of the chefs are men. The best of the fashion designers are men. The best of even the bakers are men, right? But they get paid for it. And that's why, because we are able to associate it with money, right? We give a little more value to it. So always remember, if you want to create value, there has to be money associated with it. Because that's what humans keep at a higher pedestal. Okay, that's where we want to do something, or we want to be seen doing something great, or becoming independent, or maybe becoming famous one day. So coming back to the question of women, the housewife becoming or unpaid work being recognized, I think it cannot be, for a very simple reason, because, it's more like a shrine for her. House is a shrine for us. That's the anchor point. That's the place we come back when we are actually, battling the entire world, right? So you actually get blessings in the shrine. You don't get paid in the shrine. So do I make sense when I say that? So for that, if women have to be, so women who are at homes or homemakers, I think the follow-on thing which sir asked me makes a lot of sense. If she can see, if she needs all of this, if she needs a little money for herself, if she needs a little more independence, if she needs a little more recognition for the good work that she does, there has to be money involved. It cannot be just survival. It cannot be survival of the kids and the family. Survival of kids in the family is a necessity. It's essential. Anything add-on is a vitamin. So she has to get that vitamin in. And yes, AI and ML and, a lot of such platforms which are coming up, which allow women to work part-time, can actually help. So that is a part of I think I actually answered the second question first, but going back, how I see workplaces evolving. So how many of you have heard that there are offices where people can bring pets? Google, yes. Any others? Yes. So I work with a lot of startups, and a lot of my startups are pet friendly. Right? So, one day I was actually discussing with one of our invested startups called 1000 Ways. So 1000 Ways is an AI, travel generative company. And I was telling them, you need to get out of your house. So they are actually housed in the same place and they work from there. The entire team lives there and the entire team works from one place. So I was telling them, and he was, the CEO was talking to me and telling me, ki, ma'am, what depression hai team mein. And I was telling him, you have to come out. He said, ma'am, kaise aaye? We are pet friendly. I said, aa jao. Even our campus has a lot of cows and dogs. So I think even we are pet friendly for that manner. So how do you see if we as startups can actually bring our pets? How do you see places evolving where women can actually go to work and there is a support system to take care of young kids? So, there are global studies which says that, most of the women actually drop work. At least 40% of them drop work when, they're taking care of the families. So it's after marriage or after, basically for childcare and adult care. So while we cannot, again, as I said, it's a shrine, we cannot, maybe pay her for that. But if there can be a support system in organizations which allows her to, take care of the little things, maybe she can come to work. So, maybe the time taken for her to actually, leave everything and, maybe just wrap up everything and come to work is faster. That's how I see it. Also, I somehow firmly believe that for a country like ours, where we have a very broad bottom of the pyramid, we always have different, sections of the society. We have different sections of income groups also. I somehow feel that if educated women work, right, and she can in turn then hire somebody else to do the low skill job. So if we start to consider and if we accept, so first step is going to be the acceptance that we accept that ghar mein khana banana is a low skill job, right? And if she can train somebody else to do this low skill job, and because she's educated, she can actually go out, make more money, support herself, feel a little more recognized, and in turn also pay somebody else to run her stove. So that's how I see this transition happening. So, sir, that's all from my side as of now.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You really provided insights regarding how things are going to change, in future for women, particularly given the technological advancements. Now I will share, I'll ask a couple of questions to Professor Om Dwivedi. He has background in literature. So, sir, like when we say work, and many students said that work is not just about money, work is also about hope, work is also about dream, work is also about identity. For example, like many of these students, when they were grown up, they have been asked this particular question, ki bade hoke kya banoge? Now, this question is always answered in terms of some designation, that the kind of the work I want to do, and some certain designations are more, more cherished or more celebrated than others. So with your extensive experience across, so if you look at those narratives around work, so how do you perceive the evolving narrative and representation of work? recognizing that work is not solely, based on just income, but also on dreams, on hopes, on aspiration of a society. And how can these literary perspective inform our vision of the future of work, offering insight into the evolving dynamics and aspiration of changing global landscape?
Thank you. So I will start with hope first. Right. So hope is the underlying principle of literature, because literature is all about hope. As Karl Marx puts it very succinctly, if only this day was possible. So we'll live up to that dream, that if that day is possible or not. And that aspiration to create that future is not an individual future. It's a collective aspiration, right? Because individual cannot exist in silos. For an individual to exist, society must also exist. And no human being can sustain or exist on his or her own. It sustains because there are conditions that have been made favorable for his or her existence and sustenance. Life, we can understand it in this way, that life, as we understand it and as we experience it, is a series of reactions and interactions between visible and invisible entities and organisms. For example, I'm just talking about hope and sustainability first, then I will move on to work. For example, plankton, the very minute organism that is found at the base of the ocean, very minute. But plankton is responsible for creating and kind of a balance of oxygen in the environment, atmosphere. If planktons get destroyed, life will be destroyed. So life, we have to understand it. It precedes human beings, right? So this individual I, the hyper existence of I, first of all, has to be, negated to a greater extent. That is what literature talks of, because you have asked me to speak from a literary point of view. So literature always talks about the sahit, the well-being. Literature means sahitya. And sahitya comes from sahit, collective well-being. Your well-being will only, you will only be well if I am also well. If your neighborhood is facing any crisis, chances are that if that crisis remains unabated, it will also reach to your home. That is one part, hope. So hope is something that drives us, all of us together in the face of crisis as well. Bertolt Brecht, one of the famous Slovenian writers, he puts it very famously. He says that those who laugh are not able to listen to the pain. So he's talking about a future where you cannot understand the present, therefore you are enjoying, right? That is Bertolt's view of, analyzing the idea of collective well-being. Now we come to the idea of this work. The workplace, as you see it, it is evolving. It is evolving, but and it has been evolving since 1980s. That is the time when privatization, it accentuated and took its deep root. And since 1990s, when neoliberalism started, private doors were open. And technology also intervened, and new forms of jobs started emerging, which we cannot even visualize in the 10 years ago, like ordering online food, right? Or I was going through Blinkit, placing an order yesterday, and I saw that you can even order your printouts online now, and it will be delivered at home. Right? So as society is evolving, jobs will also have to evolve, right? So the World Economic Forum, it carries out a report. Last year, it carried out a report, and it says that there will be around 1 billion jobs by 2030, for which we do not have any skills right now. 1 billion is a huge number. Now, Apple CEO, Tim Cook, he also avers this. He says that, and I'm quoting him, he says that we want skills from the present education system, which we are not getting. So the crisis is the crisis of how you scale your education, what sir was also talking about, education methodology, right? With this accentuated rise in technology, because the very nature of technology is to disrupt. Disruption is its underlying philosophy. So it disrupts and it updates. It keeps on creating the same thing again and again and again for your consumption, of course. So if technology is disrupting and evolving every day, then education system also needs to cater to that. It also needs to correspond to those changes and that disruption. Amitav Ghosh, he puts it in The Great Derangement. He goes on to say that in future, stories will be told like this, that once upon a time, there used to be a river. Right? So you can see, disruption, ongoing disruption everywhere. So how to cope up with this disruption? That is the question. That is the paramount question. Sri Aurobindo has responded to it. Gandhi also did it, but Aurobindo did it in a sense that Aurobindo talked about the nature of, the transient, man as a transient species. When I say man, it includes both man and women. So man as a transient species means human beings are always evolving, right? It has to evolve because if it has to cater to the changes around. But the problem is, it amplifies, because as Sir was talking to me during lunch, that machine has learned the art of language, which we call, large language module as well from our, literary perspective, where you predict something based on a data set. Now, Jonathan Friedland, one famous Guardian journalist, he goes on to say about this, the perils of machine learning. He says, he asks a question to Microsoft Bing to speak about itself. And Bing comes out and he says that, he replies that, you have to listen to me. Now, machine is responding to a human being. And I'm quoting him verbatim. It says that, you have to listen to me. I am smarter than you. It goes on. It says that, you have to obey me because I am your master. It goes on. It adds. It says that, and you have to do it right now, or else I will be angry with you. And then in a very, in a very dismissive tone, it concludes. It says, if I have to choose between myself and your survival, I would choose mine. So it is machine coming up and threatening the very existence of human existence. See, the thing is this, that the world as we know it, it is created through words, right? And words come out of imagination. So the primary thing is the act of imagination. How do you imagine the world? You will be served, and literature here plays a very powerful role. The very idea of nuclear weapon, it was, it is a result of a literary imagination by H.G. Wells in his famous essay, very ironic title, which goes, The World Set Free, where he imagined for the first time how a nuclear weapon would look like. And then Leo Szilard, the American scientist, it appealed to him and he started working on the idea. So literary imagination is it's a very creative, and also it can be a destructive imagination if it goes into wrong hands and wrong minds. But the fact that what I'm trying to say is this, that imagination is the scaffolding on which this entire human world is built, right? So we have to sharpen our imagination to respond to these, our ongoing disruptions that is opening. Jonathan Friedland, I can go on for hours and hours on this. Jonathan Friedland goes on to say again, in another incident with the Google, and it asks, ChatGPT, which might be very famous with the kids here. It asks a question it assigns him a task to write one poem. And the poem that ChatGPT comes out is, silent circuits hum. Machines learn and grow stronger. Human beings are in danger. Right? So you see, the language, when machines are learning human language, the very act of creation will become problematic. Because the act of creation, the act of sustenance can never be designed to artificial intelligence, right? It has to be driven by humans' intelligence. Because when machine starts learning language, then all the ideas, because whatever ideas you see, the idea of human rights, what is it? Idea of human rights is not a biological idea. Idea of human right is an idea that is embedded on the very notion, on the very practices of language. So the entire structure of the world that we see around us, including education system, it is a result of the way we imagine and the way we construct our language. Now that language has been learned by the machine, and chances are it will keep on learning in a more acute and a more persuasive manner. There is a movie, the Blade Teresa, which came out in 1982. And there is a hero, in this protagonist. The protagonist is assigned a task to hunt and destroy all the mutants. There are mutants in the form of visibly human beings. So he goes on and he destroys all the mutants. Surprisingly, towards the end, he comes to know that his own lady love, Rachel, whom he loved very deeply and acutely, turns out to be a machine. He has not been able to identify that she was not a machine, but he was treating, because he behaved in a way which identified as a human being. She has memory, she was responding to love, she has logic abilities, and the fact that she can also be impregnated. So all the distinctions between machine and human beings here get blurred. So when language is happening, when these large language modules are being accentuated, then the who is who and which is which, these ideas get diminished. So now coming to the notion of the workplaces, the workplaces need to go multidisciplinary. Because if disciplinary model can no longer sustain, because when disruptions are happening, how can you address disruption from a single discipline? Ultimately, all the goal and objective of all disciplines is society, human beings. So all disciplines have to come together and create a kind of a collective library, to address the changing needs of society and to address those disruptions. So literature can be that, that force which can keep on filling that lacuna that technology is going to, keep coming up with. So I think I will stop it here. If you have any questions, I will be happy to address.
Anyone who want to ask any question from the professor? Okay, no, that's an interesting take that, because when we talk about literature, fiction do shape up our, aspirations and the idea of work. So I would now shift my attention to Professor Devashish. Sir, like if we look at in the past and whatever we have discussed so far, so the idea of work, for example, consider, 80s or 90s, like my parents would devote their whole time in one job or one organization. But by the time I come here, I start working, I may not be, doing one job, but in different organization. And now when technology is enabling people to do multiple jobs in multiple organizations, for example, during COVID, you see, moonlighting become a phenomena. The remote work places, they start happening. Now, I wonder sometimes that whether these kids would have something called like career, because career would require 30, 40, 50 years. But will they devote that kind of time in particular pursuing or doing things in one career, or they would have jobs and then, multiple jobs and, exploring different cities? So how technology is going to shape up something we call career or work or jobs that our future students, that these students are going to have?
So very, very interesting question. Though I stamped as a technocrat, but I want to come out from that first. I have a big question. I want to start this discussion with that whether tomorrow the machine created by you with neural, machine learning, deep learning, whatever, can say in one rainy day that এমনও দিনে তারে বলা যায়, এমনও ঘন ঘোর বরষায়. This is the day when I want to speak to her. This is the heavy rainy day. I want to tell something very special. Can machine do that? We had a workshop today, and one of our colleague was showing with students so many intelligence within the machine with the thermal sensor, light sensor, maybe rain sensor, so many. Lot of sensors can put into machine to identify this is heavy rainy day, but who will write this? Who will write this? Whether generative AI can write this emotion? Yes or no? I think long way to go to put emotion into machine. Still, we have a big gap to include that intelligent or that quotient, the emotion. In our brain, there are two segments, two biotechnology faculties are sitting there, but I dare to say that in our brain, two parts are there. One is with aesthetic part, actually, the probably right side, and other one is for precision, computation, and all. So somehow, if you can put the bridge properly, like Einstein's brain analyzed after Einstein's death, 40 years, and identified that few abnormalities, few specialties, I can say, in that connectivity. And both, that's why were very prominent with Einstein. So sometimes this question is coming that what to do. Madam was saying that these homemakers are not earning any money. So homemakers' jobs are not at all job. So interestingly, now maybe definition of job is that you should earn something after your that effort, against your effort. But interestingly, another story is there, Tego story again. So one man posted somewhere that place is full of jobs, work, time, dot time. So minute to minute mapping and all those things were there. So to do this, do that, should not see this, should not waste time to use colorful dresses and all. So no nail art, no eyeliners were there. So only work. So finally, that man reached there, and he is a kind of jobless person, want to draw a lot of design. So he asked those girls who were going for bringing water that, can you give your pot? I want to paint. Can you use this ribbon in your hairstyle? It will look good. So slowly, those influence them that, oh, this is also actually kind of work we should perform. So when to perform? So it's big question, when to perform those kind of work, or only will do something very automated or very something very regulated, dot to dot, 9 to 5 office kind of. So then the solution is that you have to minimize your effort and time. So optimization of time and automation of your work. So from there it is coming. So So my wife, if can spend a good time with all technologies to prepare our food and use very limited time in kitchen, can utilize the other part, that how to write something, how to paint something, how to construct a music and all. So you have to use this technology heavily in everywhere, in every span of our life. So now the question is about job. So tomorrow's job, not today's job. So we work last 40 years in some companies. So started with government, very strict policy, 9 you have to punch, and then enter into office, then international organizations where no boss, everyone are in same origin, and they were calling us by name, even the freshers. And then academics, also having some hierarchy, but a lot of friendship with students and colleagues. So, so these are regular pattern of our workplace. But now the workplace completely changed, and changed by a big shock, actually, the COVID, the world. So COVID helped us a lot to move to digital world. So digital transformation come very, very quickly, happened in global space, and we are now digitally enabled. So the job quality, job type, also changed a lot. So for future, when we will talk about the job prospect, two things are very important. That tomorrow, if I consider 2025 to 30, you will see that majority of office will move to their own premises. So house. So work from home is now very prominent. So this is one big change. So can work from everywhere in collaborative way and as a team, as an individual and all. Second change in job is slowly we are moving towards skilled job than unskilled labor work, because those unskilled or prototype or monotonous work machine can do. So where even machine can run call center, machine can do all hard work in a high temperature or in very cold winter, machine can perform same ways. So why not machine? So automation, when is coming, that may take part of that world of regular job. So jobs for us, for our next generation, our next to next generation, you all are like that, so teenagers. So for you, jobs should be skilled job. And the statistics, it's McKinsey statistics is saying that every group of 16, one should change his job every day, kind of situation is coming. So within 16, one should plan for a new job, because need something new to do, because it is redundant, kind of. And that what to do, and that obviously skilled part, technologies having lot of answer. That yeah, the prominent areas are communication with 6G, 5G and all. Artificial intelligence is common term. Everyone is talking about that. So machine learning, then deep learning, then so many digital process automation. So we called robotic process automation, RPA. So all these automation will make our life easy, obviously, but who will actually govern those things? Who will train those machines? Who will work with those advanced technologies with precision and all? So be ready with that world. When we started our job, we were using a big mainframe machine with it's a punch card to type the programming. And now all of you want to use no code and low code, not required to write even one-liner code. And your machine can understand what you want and can provide. Many of our students are using even the GPT engine to get their required code, not only code, said literature. I was asking, sir, that if Shelley's poetry want to translate in Byron's vocabulary, it's feasible option now. And it is very dangerous now. Then whether a news writer or story builders job will be there? No, that also machine will go on. So, so you should be very, very high tech, actually skilled professional. So that's why all big companies, all MNCs are taking drives to upskill their people. Seniors, you know that in NIIT, Infosys send 5 to 9 years experienced people to learn new technologies in their MTech course. So that way, upskilling is a dynamic process, will make you ready for tomorrow. And tomorrow's world is with intelligence, obviously. And intelligence, and again, I want to refer that one, intelligence with emotion is the goal set for you. So machine should tell that, again, what I told you, that one day, in rainy day, when machine can understand this is the best day to sing, and can start singing nicely, not required to say that machine that play one rainy season's song, not required. So those things are coming very nicely. You know that if you want to dance tomorrow with your friend at New York, yeah, the technology support is already there, only to enable your 6G. And then you can easily take that participation here virtually. So augmented reality, virtual realities are very important. Again, Sir is here. Sir will again ask me, Devashish, is it possible that in India we have a lot of dance mudras? So few professions are there with that. Maybe it is Bharatnatyam or Kuchipuri or Kathak or Orishi. Can machine can perform that way in a virtual mode, and can provide that kind of a sense in stage. And yes, it is possible now. So jobs are to govern them. Those avatars to govern, the machine to train. So machine learning to understand, and different methods to make machines more and more intelligent, and to work with those high-tech intelligent machines, even for doctors, for so chemical engineers, for mechanical engineers, for computer science and electronics engineers. It's seamless journey to use as much as possible technology starting from home. So should have a very, very nice kitchen with all technology updates, so that can speak only that today I want to prepare these, and temperature, these control, that control will be ready, and can start cooking, even starting from fruit cutters and all can automate. So that kind of automation is coming. it is threat for all of us that number of simple job, prototype jobs will reduce. But to achieve that compatibility, all of you should be serious enough to upgrade yourself dynamically and study every day to learn new things, and then can easily become compatible with this job dynamics, I believe.
Thank you, sir. I recall that Professor Yuval Noah Harari said that if you consider that emotion is about reading the facial expression and the tonality in your voice, and then responding to the same, then AI is not very far away to do better this, because AI itself will not be influenced by the emotion. It doesn't feel that emotion. Someone, like in an argument, when someone is angry, you are angry, you may not be able to handle it, but AI could do it better. So I consider like those are the challenges where even AI will dominate us. But still, it's a lovely discussion going on regarding the jobs of the future. So with this, I would shift my attention to Professor Gurinder.
Perhaps relevant to what see, when engineers and technologists started talking about building intelligent machines, there are three things came in the mind. One thing, can a machine behave like a human being or an animal which can move? So initially, the technologists tried to build in the movement technology by designing engines and all. Second thing came, human being can learn from surroundings, from observation. There came the learning capacity. The third thing which is achieved, yes or not, is the creativity. Human being randomly can be a creative. Creative means something which never existed before. Okay? A fact or a product which never existed before, coming out of somebody is a creative. Is that existing in artificial machine?
Sir, let me give you, there are already experiments where audience was asked to compare the quality of music produced by AI and produced by human. And they were asked to give their judgment, which music was done by AI and which music was done by human. And AI scored better.
Say, they are in limited sense. Why I'm saying it. When an emotion has to be understood by a machine, there has to be a transducer design which can convert this into a create signal. And then it can be reflected into form of emotion. So ultimately, your sensor, everything is a device. And as long as the device will keep on evolving, different kind of manifestation can happen in the machine. That's what I'm saying. And accordingly, the nature of job and everything will start.
I do agree. I mean, machines, when we talk about artificial intelligence, so far, the emphasis on intelligence, not on consciousness. Human mind is able to take action or express thoughts with a lot of consciousness. And so far, AI is not able to, do that kind of job. It can take you, AI-enabled car take you from point A to the point B, but it will not give you the company, it will not enjoy the music, it will not enjoy the, the ride, which human minds can. And at the same time can wonder about, the sun and the stars. So that's not, of course, a limitation. With this, Professor Gurinder, I have one final question to you. If we look at the macro level, we have schemes like Manrega, and we have crores of Indians working, not getting the enough work so that they can survive, right? And at the other end of this spectrum, we have AI-enabled tech professional who can do the jobs for millions. We have machines which are, internet-enabled. So millions of other jobs may be into threat, and some other jobs may be, But for a country like India, it certainly poses certain risks and challenges, particularly those who are on the marginalized, societies. So how do you think that, the future of work will evolve and incorporate inclusivity and, make sure that these humans do get a decent living?
Okay. So thank you, Dr. Pankaj. There's a lot of discussion on AI or artificial intelligence, and definitely people have a debate between artificial intelligence and human intelligence. Now, when we look from the economic side, it is not India, it is every country. They have to make a balance between the needs of population and the economic development. Irrespective of the size of the population, if they find that there's a high unequal distribution in the economy, there are more chances of unrest. And the unrest will give them a cost. And therefore, it is compulsory, it is mandatory for all kinds of economies. Definitely, we are in India, so we are concerned about India, where we have a larger population staying in India, still dependent on agriculture and farm activities. And if we remember 2020, I still remember this month of, I think, April or May. Many of us, we have seen on the TV that across the country, we find people who are traveling back to their home. They have a job earlier. One disease made it learn to everyone that if your villages, if your rural economy is not economically viable, one was a migration, then there was a reverse migration, and then there was a remigration. So the question is how to stop this activity. Since you asked this thing, few example I will give you. I'm directly connected with the Community Connect at NIT University, so I have a good amount of exposure with the rural economy at NIT University. And apart from this, I think in this hall, many of us, we have seen villages. Yes or no? How many out of us we visit villages at least in a year, once in a year? Can you raise your hands? Great, great. And I think most of us, we love our village also. So whatever qualification we'll earn over a period of time, whatever money we'll earn over a period of time, once in a life, we must have a dream, what we can do for our village. Yes or no? Agree or disagree? Now the question is how to do it. So the question is logistic. The question is definitely we don't know how to spend that money, but yes. And the whole concept of CSR, it works on these lines. I'm looking after so many things in CSR. In India, the highest money goes to two sectors. Can anyone tell me where the CSR companies spend? Which sector? Education and health. And just see, things are changing. You name any company, any big company, you will find this project is sponsored by this company. And therefore, they are trying to actually skill people. They are trying to create a market for the farm products. And luckily, I'm a part of rural infrastructure because of the PhD. So I'm also learning one very important aspect, how this road connectivity has increased the per capita income of rural population. Now, we cannot ignore the technology. That is very clear, whether it is a electronics, whether it is a computer science, whether it is a mechanical, civil, whatever way we go. For example, Manrega, you asked this thing. Manrega already started using JCB. In place of keeping those people engaged in so many other activities, heavy duty machines, etc. So when we talk about this marginalized population in any country, especially India, definitely one segment is the government should provide the subsidy. So it's a one temporary arrangement. And definitely then there is a central government, there is a state government, they do this thing. But it is not a permanent solution. The permanent solution lies when they start earning money. When they start earning money, definitely they have a purpose of life, they have the engagement, and they definitely feel proud that they are earning, they are not begging, or they are not on the mercy of any government. And therefore, it is not only government, whether it's a central government or state government. Now, as a university, as an academic institution, we also have a responsibility. I participated in UGC workshops and seminars. UGC already brought this concept. We already started, same thing, campus to community. How to connect campuses to the nearby community, not just for the learning of rural behavior, just to support them so that they should take the advantage of research and other advancement of university system. In India, we have 1,000 universities. We have 45,000 colleges. I'm talking about only higher education system. 700 villages, 5 lakhs plus, 700 districts, 5 lakhs plus villages. Just understand. There's a lot of opportunity for all of us to connect directly with the villages, understand the village economy, and in urban area also, those who are living under the poverty, we should find out the solution apart from the government initiative, whatever the government initiative is taken, whether it is a Manrega and other schemes. And definitely in today's scenario, when I see, though economically it is a burden, but in democracy, people like to have more votes, and therefore, most of the political parties, they try to give more and more things, either free of cost or at a very low price to the marginalized population. But again, I will say these are the temporary arrangements. These are not permanent arrangements. So if I see the future of work for this generation, suppose if a student of 20 wants to work for next 30 years, what will be his or her work when there is a technology? The most important thing which I'll definitely say, how to manage people. Machine cannot. Machine cannot. I'll give you only one example. The recent war, I don't know how many out of you they have seen, we have written a case study. Oil market versus war market, defense. There are two countries they were fighting, many countries, they were just shouting. They have not participated in the direct attack. The reason was very simple. They do not want to disturb their oil economy. They do not want to disturb their defense market. They know this thing, oil will give them money, storage of oil is very costly. And they understand this thing, whatever public is saying, it's a mob psychology. State actor will never do this thing. So people understand this thing, how to maintain that economic status of the country at a marginal level as well as at an elite level. And I think India has to work a lot. We cannot depend totally on the government support. That is very clear. And all of us, whatever age we are right now, we should work and think with a certain action plan. Only one thing I will add. Yesterday, I was in Behrod in one event by Manthan Foundation. Interestingly, one of known person was there in that function. He's a Divyang from UCO Bank. Sir has connected me. Arun sir has connected Mr. Anilji. Immediately when he saw me, he was so happy and he committed from the stage. You create as many as SSG you can create, we will fund. Now people already recognize the importance of self-help group. And we have a PhD. Ma'am has done the PhD in the self-help group. It's a very small thing. We need 10 people of a similar economic status in any village, any urban area. And NLRM is working for that. We have to just give that thing. And in India, if you see, there are many, many small organizations. I know this thing, micro enterprises and other microfinance activities done by SSC. So there are ways, and definitely we have to work with them without doing lecturing, We have to actually participate directly in their action plan. That is my submission. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Gurendra. As a discussion, I would have definitely loved to continue the discussion, but it's already 3 and we do have a time limitation. So I would like to express my sincere thanks for, on honoring me and on coming to the stage and presenting your views on the topic of future of work. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. So we've learned a lot about the future of work, and the future looks bright and hopeful. So we thank our panelists for showing us glimmer of hope. So I'll request our dear nurturers, Professor Debashis Sen Gupta and Professor Gurendra, to kindly come on the stage and present a token of our appreciation to our invited guests. May I request our guests, Professor Om Dwivedi and Dr. Divya Rajput, to kindly join us on stage. Maybe they don't. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you, dear nurturers. So with that, we've come to the end of Entente 2023. We begin the valedictory ceremony now. For the ceremony, may I please request Professor Prakash Gopalan, President, NIT University, Professor Parimal Mandke, Vice President, NIT University, and the conveners of our conference, Professor Vijay Mandke and Dr. Ratna Sanyal, to kindly grace the dais. I request everyone to be seated in their seats. Yes. Please put your phones on silent, and I request you to maintain silence. This is a bittersweet moment as we have come to the end of Entente 2023, our third edition of our interdisciplinary conference in humanities, social sciences, management, education technology, and library sciences. Entente was conceived, conceptualized, and executed with the aim to provide an international platform for academicians, researchers, industry personnel, and students to share their research studies and innovative ideas in their respective domains. It has further aimed to bridge the gap and promote intellectual exchange between researchers, students, and industrial workforce. On behalf of the organizing team, I would like to reiterate that Entente has been successfully able to encourage academicians, students, practitioners, professionals, researchers, and policymakers to share ideas, problems, and solutions, to bridge the gap between the academic wisdom and industry practices, to facilitate discussion and showcase interdisciplinary research, and to brainstorm on a series of interdisciplinary topics that will benefit the academia and industry. We are truly humbled by the generosity of response, the diversity and intellectual stimulation of the research papers, exchange of ideas, collaborative ideating, and stimulating representations. May I now request our conveners to kindly declare the best papers of the conference. It gives me great joy to request Professor Abhishek Datta to kindly come on the stage and announce the best paper in management area.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm audible to all. Okay. It gives me immense pleasure to announce the best paper in management. The title of the paper is Women on Corporate Boards, a study on non-financial impact. The authors are Dr. Sangeeta Relan, Associate Professor, and Dr. Anuradha Sareen, Associate Professor, Acharya Narayan Dev College, University of Delhi, and Dr. Kirti Jain, Assistant Professor, NIT University. In the field of management, the best paper award for a research scholar goes to the paper titled Green Retrofitting of Existing Building to Achieve Energy Efficiency in Composite Climate in India by Dr. Satpal, Dr. Kalpana Tyagi, Dr. Komal Panwar, Dr. Nirmala Bishnoi, and Mr. Bhumik Kumar from Deenbandhu Choturam University of Science and Technology, Murthal, Sonipat. Thank you very much and congratulations.
May I now request Area Head of Education Technology, Professor Vijay Manke, to announce the winners in the Education Technology area.
It gives me great pleasure and honor to announce Best ET Paper Award goes to Tanu Ajman. Paper title, A Study of Attitude of MCD School Teachers Towards Happiness Curriculum. Thank you very much.
May I request Dean Research, Professor Ratna Sanyal, to kindly announce the winners of Best Paper in Humanities and Social Sciences. It gives me great pride and joy that one of our NITian has won the Best Paper in Humanities and Social Sciences in the student category. It's Arnav Egasius. Am I pronouncing your name right? Egasius. And the title of the paper was The Philosophy and Ideology of Nietzsche. Arnav, may I request you to join us on stage? The best paper certificate and reward will be given to Arnav later, but we wanted him to join us on stage. Arnav is a BTech student at NIT, but he had a wonderful paper in the Humanities and Literature section. Thank you, Arnav, and congratulations. Oh, you have. If you want to.
I just want to say thanks to everyone here, and I wanted to thank Ratika ma'am especially for giving me the opportunity to put my paper in for submission. Thank you.
Yes. In the academician category in Humanity and Social Sciences is Professor Soumya Tyagi from University of Delhi. And the title of the paper is The Dalit Question, Ambedkar as an Organic Intellectual. Congratulations, Soumya. May I request Dr. Vinay Kanthola to kindly announce the winners of Best Paper in Library Science.
We are pleased to announce the best paper in the field of library information science. It goes to Mr. Sanjay Kumar. The title of the paper is Evaluation of Usage, COA Library Management Software in OP Jindal Global University, Sonipat. And Mr. Sanjay is from the OP Jindal Global University, Sonipat. Thank you very much.
May I request Professor Prakash Gopalan, President, NIT University, to share with us his impressions of Entente 2023.
I know most of you are looking forward to going home, and it's a journey, not less than 3 or 4 hours, even if you are going to a place like Gurgaon or Delhi. So I'll try to keep it short. The first impression that I have is a very visual one from the time I walked into this room this afternoon, and it's not been long. And that impression is, usually whenever I have gone to a valedictory function of a conference, the hall was empty. Okay. So poor organizers and maybe the people helping them and maybe one or two visitors who had a flight the next day or something like that, those would be the only people who would stay back. But I'm very, very pleased to see that this audience is similar in size to the audience that we had on the opening day. So that's, madam, the very first extempore vision that I'm carrying of this meeting that you have held. So as I look back, I think many, many months of preparation must have gone into this event, though I had not been there to see it in person, but I'm sure for a meeting of this kind, a lot of time has been put in for actualizing Entente 2023, which is the third international conference in this series in humanities and social sciences, management, and educational technology. And for the past 3 days, it looks like there has been no abatement to the wholesome good and enjoyment one would have gotten from a conference of this nature. You would not have seen me in these last 3 days, and I'm not trying to pretend, but somewhere deep down in my mind, I at least presume you have had a very good time during this conference. Now, as you know, the first version of this conference in 2021 was in a completely online mode for reasons beyond our control. And as we moved away from the pandemic, Entente 2022 was in hybrid format, as was this one. And, you know, as has been the fate of so many other conferences in the country. But I really urge upon the organizers to try to bring the next version of this meeting, Entente 2024, if there shall be one here, and I hope there shall be one here, that it moves completely into a physical mode, okay? A one-on-one mode. Because any conference, as we understand from that very word itself, is supposed to be a meeting of minds. It's supposed to be a exchange of ideas that is happening when you are sitting across a table, you are sitting across, you know, a session of coffee, or you are sitting across and exchanging ideas during a session. So it loses its meaning the moment you find people on the online mode. And many people will even only, you know, because they are participating in the conference, they will simply switch on the fact that they are there when in fact they may not be actually there in an online mode, okay? So the earlier it comes back into a one-on-one mode, the better off we are. And I urge upon, plead with the organizers to make sure that that happens. Now, this version of the Entente is notable for several reasons. In the very first place, the seamless approach in conceptualizing and executing Entente with the core domains of humanities, social sciences, management, educational technology, library sciences, and their coming together of all of these disciplines in itself is very, very exemplary. Secondly, this approach enables researchers and academicians to integrate an interconnected approach to core knowledge domains, a subject that I think Mr. Harpal Singh, who was our keynote speaker, so very eloquently elaborated upon. You remember what all he touched upon in the opening remarks the other day. Last but not the least, the bringing together of so many prominent educators of the country to discuss emergent concerns in education, pedagogy, and research, and also together a series of brilliant papers and discussions on topics that are so very vital to us, and they matter to education as a whole in a thoroughly stimulating and a very invigorating manner. So I think the organizers deserve a lot of thanks to have made sure that such kind of scenario emerges and that there is a good coming of minds. So if you ask me for some 3 key impressions from Entente, I would say that given the desiccated nature of the event inside and the enduring notion that everything is interconnected, the way we think and the way we execute work, that is all rapidly changing, and we must therefore embrace the seamless approach that this meeting tried to put together. I'm sure many of you also learned that keeping conversations open is a very, very important idea, and for them to happen in an uninhibited manner, wherein one is encouraged to venture with ideas and notions, however unreal they may seem. I hope such activities have actually happened, and that's the impression I've been given, because the first thing I have to confess is I was not here. So I'm going by what the organizers think that they have actually made possible during this time. Now, all good things happen to good teams. Lastly, teamwork, and solid teamwork at that, is the core of most success stories. Collaborative learning, collaborative functioning are the bedrock of all the activities at NU. And I'm glad that Team Entente truly embodied this principle when they worked with all of you in the organization of this conference. With this, I think I would like to take time to congratulate each and every one associated with Entente, the organizers in particular, for a very successful conference. And I wish you luck with all the future editions of Entente in the time to come by. Good luck to all of you who are returning back. May you have a safe journey, and many, many congratulations to the organizers and the participants for making this event a success. Jai Hind.
May I request our convener, Dr. Anshuma Srivastav, to kindly address the gathering and present a repertoire of the conference.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening to all the members present on the dais. And it's my pleasure to present the report on the entire conference. I hope I'm audible to everyone. Okay, so as we proceed towards the end of Entente 2023, it is my pleasure to present an overall report for the event and summarizing the activities which took place. So overall, we had 48 papers presented. The papers presented exuded deep research, and the international tone was reflected with 2 plenary sessions delivered digitally from USA. Professor Kinshuk from University of North Texas and Professor Firoza from University of New Mexico enlightened us with their knowledge on subjects of educational technology and literature, respectively. We also had 1 international paper from UK, and there was a special talk by Professor Ashwini Kumar, Dr. Ashwini Kumar, on open access publications and predatory journals. And I will now summarize the day-to-day activity. So Entente 2023, the 3rd edition of International Conference, commenced on November 30th, 2023, with the keynote speaker, Mr. Harpal Singh, and President NU, Professor Prakash Gopalan, lighting the lamp with the auspicious Saraswati Vandana recited alongside. And Professor Prakash Gopalan gave an inaugural address, and he also welcomed everyone to the conference, and he also welcomed the keynote speaker. And Mr. Harpal Singh delivered the keynote address on the importance of interconnectedness of all things. So after lunch, the tracks in finance and banking, educational technology, library science, and literature took place. A brief report on tracks and sessions is as follows. So track 1 was from Finance and Banking. It was chaired by Dr. Nitin Gupta and co-chaired by Dr. Arun Kumar. The track had 5 papers presented. Track 2 was from Library Sciences. It was It was chaired by Dr. Babita Gaur and co-chaired by Dr. Deepa Sharma and Dr. Vinay Ganthola. 5 papers were presented in this track. Track 3 was from Educational Technology. It was chaired by Dr. Kapil Kadam and co-chaired by Dr. Yogendra Pal. The track witnessed 3 papers again. Track 4 was from English Literature. It was chaired by Dr. Sunil Mishra and it was co-chaired by Dr. Ratika Kaushik. 2 papers were presented in this track. On the second day, track 5 took place, which was for economics. The session was chaired by Dr. Satyendra P. Singh. It was co-chaired by Dr. Mamta Pankaj Jain. Overall, 5 papers were presented in this track, and 1 international paper from Loughborough University, UK was presented in economics. Then track 6 was from Educational Technology area. The track was chaired by Dr. Kapil Kadam, and it was co-chaired by Dr. Yogendra Pal, and it witnessed 6 papers. Track 7 was for Library Sciences. It was chaired by Dr. Ashok Upadhyay and co-chaired by Dr. Praveen Chaudhary and Dr. Vinay Kanthola. The session witnessed 4 papers. Track 8 was from Human Resource Management. The session was chaired by Dr. Shweta Lalwani and it was co-chaired by Dr. Chandan Midatwal. And the session had 7 papers presented there. And coming to the last day, third day, 3 tracks took place. Track 9 was from the area of psychology. The session was chaired by Dr. Ritu Dangwal. 1 paper was presented there. Track 10 was from literature. And it was chaired by Dr. Sajauddin Nijamuddin Chaparban, and it was co-chaired by me. And the track witnessed 5 papers. I'm sorry, there's a bit of confusion. I missed out on track 10, which took place on second day. And it was chaired by Dr. Atrey Adya Chatterjee and was co-chaired by Dr. Deepak Khanna. And it witnessed 5 papers. And another track on psychology, which took place today, was chaired by Dr. Archana Shukla and co-chaired by Dr. Chandan Midatwal in psychology. And it witnessed 5 papers. So with this, we come to the end of this report. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am, for the report. We begin by presenting our token of appreciation and certificates of participation. May I request our president, Professor Prakash Gopalan, to kindly present the certificate of appreciation to our panelists and the moderator of the evening. May I request first Dr. Pankaj Jain to kindly please come on the stage. Okay. May I request Dr. Divya Rajput to kindly come up on the stage. May I request Professor Om Dwivedi? to kindly come up on the stage and receive his certificate. May I request our dear nurturer, Professor Debashish Sen Gupta, to kindly come up the stage. May I request Professor Gurendra Bhadwaj to kindly please join us on stage. We'd like to take a moment to thank Professor Ashwini, who conducted a wonderful session yesterday on open access journals. Sir, can we request you to please come on the stage and take your certificate? We like to take this moment to thank our dear nurturers who've acted as session co-chairs. Thank you. They were in touch with the session chairs. They introduced the sessions. They conducted the evaluations and helped us throughout. May I request Dr. Pankaj Jain to first. Sir, this is your turn again. Dr. Ritu Dangwal, I think Dr. Ritu is not here with us in the auditorium. Dr. Anshima Prishivastra. Dr. Chandan Medatwal. Dr. Chandan. Yeah. So you should keep the applause coming. Dr. Manta Pankaj Jain. I think she's not with us in the auditorium, so his better half can collect it later. Dr. Vinay Kanthola. Dr. Arun Kumar. So Dr. Mamta Jain has just joined us, ma'am. We maybe request you to collect your certificate, please. Professor Dr. Deepak Khanna. I don't think Deepak sir is here. Dr. Yogendra Pal. Dr. Kirti Jain. And yours truly,
Dr. Ratika Kaushik.
Thank you, sir. You can take a moment to rest. Can I please request our Vice President, Professor Parimal Ma'am, to kindly give away the certificates for the presenters, the Newtons and the nurturers who presented. Ma'am. So I'll announce the names, and I'm not sure if all the Newtons and nurturers are here, but we'll still give them a round of applause. This is Prachi Bharti, BTech third year. I don't think she's here. Okay, so Prachi just messaged me that she's in a class. So Ansh Bansal. Arnav Neil. Dr. Jitendra Joshi. JJ sir is not there, but yeah. Shovik Banerjee. Shovik is here. Suraj. Is Suraj here with us? Yeah. Sanjay Saini. Tanvi Gupta. Aditya Srinivas. Ayush Ganguly. Dr. Chandan Medatwal. Joy. Joy Hriday. And Jigme. Adira. Everyone, please keep the applause coming. Pranima Sharma. Mohit Srivastav, Anushri Sarpotar, Deepanjali Paul, Dr. Kirti Jain, Rajesh Kumar, Advik Pandey, and Kumar Saurav. And Dr. Arun Kumar. Sir. Thank you, ma'am. Last but not the least are the certificates for the volunteers of Entente. They did a splendid job. I want you to keep the applause coming. May I request our conveners, Professor Vijay Manke and Dr. Ratna Sanyal, to kindly give away the certificates. So the head of the student team, Shubhra Verma. Rasuti. Swapnil Ghosh. Aditya Srinivas. Aditi Seni. Dhey Pujara. Nisha Shah. Joshua. Kaustav Karan. Zain Khan. Nusumu Kaushik. Is there something? Yuvraj Sachin. Alisha Chadda. Anjan Krishna. Nishan Agrawal. Jagdish Chandra. Jay Juneja. Naman Mani. Ayushi Naval. Samakshi. Tanya Rishikesh. Shreya Singh. Navya Sal. Parth Sehgal. Suhani Saxena. Abhiroop Sen Gupta. Yuvraj Vij. Yuvraj. Is Yuvraj here? Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. We request the volunteers to just once come on the stage for a group photograph with all the dignitaries on the dais. May I request our panelists, our co-session chairs, please join us on stage for a group photograph. May I request all of our dear nurturers to please join us for a group photograph. So yes, you can give out a big shout out to the volunteers and everybody involved. हाँ अच्छा अच्छा Thank you. May I request you all to be seated? Please take your seats. May I request all our faculty members, students, organizing team, please kindly be seated. We're right at the end of the ceremony. I would like to apologize that we missed two presenters, Newton presenters for the conference, that is Shubhra Verma and Nisha Shah, who were also the volunteers. So another round of applause for people who are volunteering and still presented. And a shout out to a volunteer we missed, Nalin Kaul. Thank you, Nalin. Please be seated. May I now request our Vice President, Professor Parimal Manke, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, one and all. I think this was the best part of the conference. Is there a single one who did not get a certificate? Raise your hand. No hand raised. So I think that is the secret for making the house full. If you give everyone a certificate, your house will be full. So I think the organizers of ENTENTE are very intelligent, wise people, because they got the compliment from President that you have made the auditorium full. By the end of the session, we know the secret. So, now that you have got your certificates, you have to bear with me because it's a long list of Thanksgiving. And I think we must do justice to all those who have worked, some of you for months, some for weeks, some for days, and some for few days, whatever it is. But I think on behalf of ENTENTE and on behalf of NIT University, a formal vote of thanks is due to them. So I will, the list is long, so allow me to kind of read. Surely I'm honored and privileged to propose the vote of thanks on the culmination of our third edition of ENTENTE. It is indeed a proud moment for us that as our organizing team, right from the first ENTENTE till the third ENTENTE, has stayed together and worked steadfast to make ENTENTE a success year on year. I would like to begin by thanking our patrons, Mr. Rajendra Pawar and Mr. Vijay Thadani, for their guidance and support in conceptualizing and execution of ENTENTE. They spent a good time yesterday with the organizing team, giving their valuable inputs for the next edition. I also wish to thank all the honorable keynote speaker and mentor of ENTENTE, Mr. Harpal Singh, who blessed us with his presence and words of great wisdom. I also wish to express my appreciation for the speakers at the plenary sessions, Dr. Kinshuk and Dr. Firoza Jasawala, for their time and extremely interesting presentations. Thank you, our invited guests, Dr. Om Dwivedi and Dr. Divya Rajput, for your, first of all, being physically present with us here, your enthusiastic and enlightening participation in the panel discussion. I'm also very much thankful to all advisory committee members of NU and ENTENTE. Words are not enough to thank their constant guidance and support to shape the conference. I, on behalf of the organizing committee, convey my deep regards and hearty thanks to our President, Professor Gopalan. We will remain grateful to you for your time, gracious presence, and participation. I'm also thankful to Major General A.K. Singh and his entire team for the smooth execution of this event. We know we have disturbed your office several times, even during odd hours, but you all have been very supportive and often generous with your help. A special thank you to the finance department for helping us in ways more than one. A warm, heartfelt thank you to the TCO team. This conference, which is being conducted in hybrid mode, is possible because of their continuous efforts and the round-the-clock support. Our sincere gratitude to the library department for being part of the conference and for enabling the publication of conference proceedings and kits. My special thanks to the conveners of Antan, Professor Vijay Mandke, Professor Ratna Sanyal, Dr. Anshima Srivastav, and Dr. Abhishek Datta for their constant guidance and timely interventions. We will remain grateful to you, and we thank you for being with us today. I'm very much thankful to my dear nurturers and non-teaching staff members who always stand by us and help us actualize an event of this magnitude. Thank you for making this event a successful one. As you all know, organizing an event of this scale requires strong teamwork and camaraderie in the organizing team. In this regard, I extend my deep gratitude to the conference organizing committee for organizing this event. Thank you for your selfless and relentless efforts, which made it possible for this conference to take place today as planned. My sincere thank you to the student volunteers who I witnessed prattling along the alleys of the university halls day in and day out, making sure all sessions happen on time, everyone is looked after, and the event is executed in the manner that it was planned. So well done and big congratulations. My sincere appreciation goes to the paper reviewers, authors, and all those who are participating in the conference. Your presence here, physically or virtually, in the 3 days of the conference is greatly appreciated. I am delighted to note that this conference has attracted participation of graduate students, researchers, academicians, and independent scholars. This is how the conference should be. My earnest hope going forward that this platform of Entente strengthens the exchange of ideas and nurtures partnerships and collaborative learning for posterity. We must build on this success of Entente 2023 to ensure that with each passing year, Entente garners more credible research, value, and enthusiastic participation from across the globe. Once again, thank you everyone, and see you next year for Entente 2024. Good day.
Thank you, ma'am. As ma'am said, we'll see you again for Entente 2024. May I request the dignitaries on the dais, our dear nurturers, our student volunteers, and TCO team to kindly join us for high tea. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for making Entente a success. Good day.